Boelter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf from
Nate Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on this. What day is it today? It is Wednesday. Wednesday, as we are interesting developments here in the NFL, particularly with the Seahawks. As you see on the my little title up here, Beast Mode and Jadaveon Clowney possibly coming back for a return to the Seahawks in 2020. And what about the Seahawks schedule? Comes out tomorrow. The entire NFL schedule comes out tomorrow. What will the Seahawks record be? We're going to talk about all this and more. I want to welcome everybody who's blowing up the chat right now. My name is Adam, Josh, Desai, Go PewDiePie, Blitz, B-Will3, The Idiots Talk About Stuff podcast, Bryson Posa, Epic Gamer, Gav Sax Nation, and all the rest of you guys, Ori, and all you guys coming in. Thank you for doing so. We are also going to take some calls today. I got the line. Let me activate the line up here for you guys to see. The number is 515-606-5121. The code 696-153 if you want to join in the conversation. I'm going to be joined with a few of my friends here who I love to talk sports with every week. Let's bring them in right now. That's right. I'm talking about Calvin Domingo. Got Noah Boelter up there at the top. And, of course, Seahawks Martin, the three musketeers joining in on the show today. How you guys doing today?
Feeling good. Feeling good as always.
Pretty good.
All right, so we got a lot of stuff to get into, and I want to make this fast and efficient and actually have some time to take some potential calls from people. So let's talk real quick about, we talked a little bit about this last week, but now it's getting a little more traction, hearing a little bit more buzz about this. Let's talk about Beast Mode. Beast Mode, the speculation now is that his agent has said that Beast Mode is open to a possible return to the Seattle Seahawks in 2020, and the Seahawks have kept the door open as well. Noah, last time you kind of said, no, this was sort of a just shot in the dark desperation move last year. Now we've got an entire offseason to look ahead and make this thing sort of a planned thing. Noah, have you changed your stance on this in terms of the potential of Beast Mode coming back to the Seahawks?
Norb, it's always a pleasure to be on here.
It's a pleasure to have you.
So I haven't changed my stance at all with this whole Beast Mode thing. In fact, I'm a little bit more adamant about it, and the reason being is because with how this offseason is going to look, it's going to be delayed, right? We're not going to be able to start training camps on time, most likely. We're not going to be able to have the same game atmosphere necessarily. It's one of those situations where our future is so unpredictable. We have 4 really good running backs on the roster, Carson, Penny, Homer, and DJ Dallas now, guy that we drafted pretty early in the draft compared to where we might have predicted that we might go after a running back. And it's going to be a season where we're going to have injuries, and those guys are going to go to IR, and that's when I would bring on a guy like Beast Mode. I don't want to bring in Beast Mode for a season where it's unpredictable and we don't know what we're going to get, how much we're going to need from him. Why not just bring him in later on if the need creates itself? If not, our running back core is just fine without him.
Calvin, what do you think?
I think that we should bring him on just because I've been hearing that Rashad Penny is going to start the season on the PUP list. And if that's the case, he won't be coming back until, I think, the end of October. And so we're down a running back there. DJ Dallas, we kind of talked last week about how he wasn't my most favorite pick. But he's still raw, because going into college, he played receiver. In high school, I think he played a little bit of quarterback. And I think that if we bring in Beast Mode, yeah, there will be a delayed offseason. But the fact that he already knows the system, he can teach the other guys, he could be a veteran presence in the locker room. I think that's very valuable. And I've been hearing that he could potentially even play fullback for us if we even need a fullback. He could fill that role. And so I'd love for us to bring him back on.
Seahawks Martin, what say you about the return of Beast Mode?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show with you three. You guys are my favorites. Next, well, I mean, yeah, of course I want him back. Kind of like what you said a couple weeks ago, Norby, we could have made him our 1-yard line specialist, I guess. But when you think about it, I mean, there's only 53 guys, and running back is a position that we it isn't as important as like the other positions, as in like, you know, defensive end, linebacker, when you come to think of it, secondary. So I mean, I'm all for having Beast Mode back, but I mean, like Noah and Calvin said, maybe we could do it late in the season. We still have plenty of running backs in Chris Carson. Penny won't be back for a while, but DJ Dallas seems pretty promising looking at his college highlights. And I mean, we still have Travis Homer too. So I'd say like take the time to think about it. But if Lynch wants to come back, then I mean, we gotta feed it to him at the 1 yard line.
All right, well, so you guys have been very logical about this, and I'm just gonna go strictly on emotion. I would love to see Beast Mode come back, baby. Man, the fun we had do you guys remember how doom and gloom the season was when we lost to the Cardinals in that home stretch of the schedule? And it was like, oh my God, we just lost to the freaking Cardinals. Playoffs down the toilet, we're doomed. And all of a sudden they brought Beast Mode in, and the entire city of Seattle, the entire nation of Seattle Seahawks 12s went crazy, and we forgot about how bad the season was, and all of a sudden we had new life, and that change of just him being around changed the entire complexion of not just the team but the fan base, and it just brought us all together, and again almost got us this close to winning that division. So I know that there's a lot of financial things to get worked out and player roster things and all that stuff. But man, the idea of him being here and having an entire offseason to prepare, and then really it's not even a whole offseason because we're already missing OTAs and all the stuff they would have had because of this virus thing. So Beast Mode doesn't even have to worry about that stuff. He just come in and prepare late like everybody else is going to. And I just think if there's some way to get him on the sideline, like I've said, put him in as a cheerleader, put him as a running back coach consultant who can throw some shoulder pads in at special times, just something, just make it worth his while and give him some free Skittles for life, whatever, just make it happen so that he can just be around, because life is better with Beast Mode. You can quote me on that.
Yeah.
So I hope it happens. I know it's a long way to go, but it does seem that there is more traction to the story than there was. Now we'll see if in the next few months this actually happens. But there has been some discussion amongst this agent has made it publicly known, and I think the Seahawks have also said that they are open to it. So speaking of something else being open to, Jadaveon Clowney suddenly has come back into the forefront in the media. And there was a video release of him yesterday doing a bunch of working out down in his hometown in Texas. And it seems that not only Clowney's saying that he's open to Seattle, a return to Seattle, and would welcome that, but even the Seahawks saying they just want to give him this time because since the coronavirus limited his ability to really shop himself around, they just want to give him that time to do so. And so maybe that door, which seemed to be closing, isn't quite as close as we thought. Noah, what do you think about that?
I've also been getting a lot of reports talking about how it's unlikely for Jadaveon Clowney to come back to Seattle. I'm really just turned off at the notion that we still haven't been able to come to an agreement. If he really respected us and really thought of us as that guy, as that team, as that option that you want to be a part of, what took you so long? We've offered you a lot of different contracts along the way. We've worked down the number quite a bit, but we could come to some type of agreement. He said he wanted to play for a winner. Of the other teams that are on his list that he's looking at, we're arguably the best team with the best chance to win the most games this upcoming season. Russell Wilson's been trying to get him back. We've been doing this dance for so long. It's that girl that just won't commit, and it's at some point you just got to move on. And I'd still love to get Jadaveon Clowney back in Seattle. We have to do it at our own price. We just made those moves which made it look more possible. Now I'm getting reports that people are saying it's less and less likely based on how the numbers are lining up. I don't know what to think with the whole deal. I do know we have to make a move at the position, and I say regardless, we got to bring in Everson Griffin, and that's where I would go first.
How about you, Calvin?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'd love for him to come back, I just think that at this point it's very unlikely. Noah said it. We're the best team out of all the teams that's chasing them. The Browns, the Titans, the Jets. We're the best team. And at the end of the season, he was talking about how he would love to come back. He wants to play for a winner. I think that by now, if he hasn't signed with us, I think it's kind of too late. And I mean, I know a lot of people weren't really looking too much into it, but I think the fact that Jaron Reed took his number 90 back, I think that kind of says a lot. I mean, because if Clowney was to come back, what number would he wear? I mean, so, I don't know. That was just a little question that I had. So I think that if he was to come back with us, I mean, he should have signed by now. And Noah said it, you know, we've offered him multiple contracts. You know, we offered him a contract at the beginning of free agency. We offered him a contract in the middle of free agency. We just offered him another contract. And so I think at this point, I'm willing to kind of give up on that chase, and I'd go after guys like Everson Griffin, Yannick Ngakoue, etc.
I want to quickly acknowledge Dukes of Hazzard, a regular viewer of the show, in the super chat. He says, "I take Lynch over Clowney. He is exciting." So that might be the case right now, according to these guys in the Three Musketeers. Two of them are saying they see that Clowney is probably not coming back here. Seahawks Martin, do you agree with the three, or you think there's still a chance Clowney comes back here?
Like Calvin and Noah, I think I've given up hope. I mean, we've given him so many contracts, and he's asking for like a higher price, like $20 million. Well, he lowered it down. And I mean, I don't get why he wants that much, considering that last year, yeah, sure, he was double teamed, but I mean, his injuries, the fact that he only had 3 sacks, even less than a cornerback like Logan Ryan, that is pretty bad. I think that if he were to if we gave him $20 million, we'd be expecting him to play at like a top-notch level. But I mean, we didn't see that type of top-notch playing enough this year. I mean, last year in 2019. So I think it's time to move on from Clowney. We could get Everson Griffin, the veteran. We could get Yannick Ngakoue. I mean, we could even try Matthew Judon, even though I don't think so. But yeah, I think Clowney's got to go.
Well, I don't think there's any chance Seattle would ever pay $20 million. I think that $20 million number is way, that ship has sailed a long time ago. However, I like playing devil's advocate because you guys are all like on the same logical side. So I like to play the other side just to make the show a little bit more interesting. So I look at it like, you guys ever see the movie Coming to America with Eddie Murphy?
No.
It's like, that was way before my time. Well, in the movie, Eddie Murphy plays a prince, and his dad, who's James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader, Eddie Murphy wants to go see, he wants to go find, see if he's got a soulmate out there and not marry the woman that he's been assigned to marry. And so his dad goes, "Oh, why don't you go sow your wild oats, go to America and see if you can find the girl that you're looking for." So I see that as the Seahawks. Pete Carroll is like James Earl Jones telling Clowney, "Go out there, see what's out there. You're free. We have the time. We'll just be back here waiting for you when you're done sowing your wild oats out there in free agency." And so I think if you find somebody who will pay him the extra money that he's hoping for, then I think they'll let him do it. But if nobody takes him, if no one's willing to pay more, that he's got some number in mind, right? He's got some number in mind that will pull him away from the Seahawks. But maybe that number's 15, maybe it's 16, and maybe the Seahawks are willing to pay 14. But if nobody hits that number, and maybe 14, they're ready to do that. And he goes, "Okay, well, I sowed my oats. I went out there, no takers, so I'm coming back home. I'm coming back to the Seahawks." I think we embrace him with open arms. And I don't know. I'm no cap expert. Is there a possibility they could sign both Griffin and Clowney? Is there room enough for that? I don't know. Do you guys know any facts to that matter, whether it's even logistically possible? Or can you only have one? It is possible.
No,
Noah says it's possible. Uh-oh. We got a lockup here. Connection lost. Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. I had a little hiccup in the network here, so I missed that last comment. But no, you were saying it is possible.
Oh, yeah. So we'd have to get Everson Griffin somewhere around $5 or $6 million per year, and then we'd have to get Jadaveon Clowney down at 12, 13, somewhere around there. But we can make the numbers work. We'd have to make a couple more moves. I've been the one suggesting we get rid of David Moore. That's another $2-3 million we could save right there in the wide receiver core that we added to with the drafts for some reason, and then continued with free agency. Philip Dorsett, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. We could afford to lose more. He's our A1 starter only for our dance celebrations in the end zone. Other than that, like, we do not need him. And so that's why I say, like, we can move off David Moore and try and make this deal for the defense.
So what you're saying, as I recognize Extrat 3D 12th man in the super chat, he said, "Yo, Norb, it's Jeremiah Burns from Nevada. Welcome to the show, Jeremiah. Thanks for watching." So what you're saying is there's still a chance that we could re-sign Beast Mode on some special kind of ambassador / 1 yard specialist. We could bring Griffin in here as a pass rusher, and we could get the disruptor, Jadaveon Clowney. Technically, that is all possible. It's not impossible, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I need to hear. Thank you. The dream is alive. Okay, all right. Let's go grab a couple calls before we move on to our next topic and see what people out there have to say. I'm going to go to let's go to Rodriguez. And Rodriguez, are you there? You're on live with Norb, Cal, Noah, and Seahawks Martin. What's up? Rodriguez. Oh, wait. Try that again. Actually, I'll try that again. Come on, line. Open up. All right. I love when technology just works perfectly. Okay. Phone line's not exactly working, so we will hold off on the phone calls, and let's go back to our next topic while I'm figuring out what's going on with the phone lines here. We wanted to talk a little bit about the record Seahawks schedule in 2020, and quick shout out to Jetfire97 in the super chat. Thank you for watching. The schedule comes out tomorrow, so we can't talk about the specific schedule, but what I'd like to do is, we all know that the Seahawks are going to have a winning record, right? We're going to be better than 500. We agreed on that, right?
Of course. Of course.
So let's talk about the schedule in terms of what teams will the Seahawks lose to, since that will be the smaller of the numbers in the win-loss column. Noah, I'm going to start with you. Break it down for me. I know it's early, but for a second. Calvin, let's go to you. I'll toss it your way since Noah went away for a second. Calvin, what's your thoughts?
Yes, sir. I think that definitely one of the games against San Fran, for sure, just because, those games are always full of, it's battle tested, full of a lot of, between two great teams, duking it out. I think that we've made some moves to kind of catch up to San Fran, and we always play them close every single year. And so that, I don't think it's realistic for us to win both of those games. So I think that, we lose one of those games and then we won't win the other one. I think, another game we'll potentially lose is one of them against the Arizona Cardinals, just because every single year it always seems like they have our number, especially when we're at home. And Arizona's a much improved team. Kyler Murray should be taking another step forward. They've added some weapons on both sides of the football. You got DeAndre Hopkins, Isaiah Simmons. You've added to your offensive line by drafting Josh Jones, a first-round caliber lineman in the 3rd round. And then you retain Kenyon Drake, who was spectacular in Cliff Kingsbury's system towards the last couple of weeks last season. And so I think one of the games against the Cardinals, that's a loss right there. And I think that another potential loss could come. Let me see. We weren't as good on the at home this past season. And so I think maybe a home game because we have home games against the Cowboys, the Rams, the Cardinals, Niners, Jets, Giants, and Vikings. I think that maybe one against the Rams, just because, once again, as with all division opponents, it's like those teams always seem to have, their number against us. And so, although the Rams are going to be pretty terrible, I think that we'll end up losing one of those games just because. And then one more potential game, I think the road game against Atlanta, just because Atlanta, they should be a lot better. Dan Quinn knows us. It's going to be on the road. And last year, we struggled in the second half against Atlanta. And that was without Matt Ryan playing in the second half. And so I think that's another game I can kind of circle as a loss.
Okay. So that, if I got your prediction right, that means we would go 12-4. Is that right? 3 division losses and 1 loss to the Falcons of all teams. That means we're going to sweep the AFC East and pretty much all the other divisions, with the exception of that one team from the South. That's a pretty good record there. I I see that Noah, you dropped out, but you're back again. I'll direct it back to you again. So, what was your prediction on the teams that Seattle would lose to in 2020?
Okay, so the 4 teams, I just barely got back, right? We just made it back into the live stream, and I think I heard Calvin saying 1 team or 1 loss to each of the teams within the division. Did I hear that correct? Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I think we lose. I've already circled the game against Arizona at home, San Francisco on the road, and the LA Rams on the road. I think we lose all 3 of those. And then looking at the rest of the schedule, it's going to come down to one of the games I'm looking at Atlanta. I agree with Calvin, something about that stadium, but we do seem to get that done during the regular season. So I think our 4th loss is probably going to be at Buffalo. I think Josh Allen, that offense, what they can do, inclement weather potentially if we get there later on in the season. I think Buffalo could be the team that knocks us off just because they're getting hot at the right time. And they could beat Seattle. I think we go 12-4, and I think we win the division.
Martin, what about you? What's your take? Who did the Seahawks lose to in 2020?
Like Noah and Calvin, I believe that we will lose 1 game to each of our 3 rivals in the NFC West. 1 at home against the Cardinals because it pretty much happens every year. Next, I think we're going to lose at the Rams, considering how bad we played there last year. And then for the Niners, that was pretty hard because like both games we played against them were so close. But I believe we're going to drop the game at Levi Stadium, and I kind of disagree with Noah on the fact that we'll lose to the Bills because I think of the Bills as I think of Josh Allen as pretty overrated. I don't know if you guys will probably not agree with me, but I think that he kind of gets too much praise. And, I mean, he makes some of the most boneheaded plays I've ever seen. So I am going to rule out the Bills. Falcons, that kind of makes sense. I mean, as long as we contain Julio, we'll be okay. And Todd Gurley, but, I mean, Todd Gurley still has those injuries. But it's hard. I mean, we're playing against East divisions. Those 2 are, like, the worst. I mean, it's pretty hard to think. I feel like we might end up losing. I think we're going to end up losing to Dallas, maybe. Prescott, yeah, he might be overrated, but I think that as long as he just does a little well, at least, I think they'll be okay. Amari Cooper's pretty good. I mean, don't forget, they still have Ezekiel Elliott, DeMarcus Lawrence, those guys. And the last time they played us at home, I'm pretty sure that we did lose to them, although it was pretty controversial. But Dallas seems, I mean, they're probably not America's team anymore, but I feel like they might somehow upset us, unfortunately.
You know, I hate to say it, too. You stole my thunder a little bit because I was going to say the Cowboys do make me a little bit nervous this year. They've had some pretty good upgrades, pretty good draft in 2020. We do take them at home. I believe it's a home game, isn't it? Yes, it's a home game. But I don't know. That game's a little bit nervous for me. I'm not going to make my prediction yet on the season. I will say that we will be better than 10-6, but I do believe our division is going to give us a tough time, and yeah, watch out for the Cowboys. And I think there's going to be one more team in there that might be that one that you circle as a W and it's going to come out and go, how the hell did we lose to these guys? And I don't know who that's going to be yet, but it's not as easy as I think everybody's thinking that it will be. The AFC East is not the pushover teams division that it once was not too long ago. I do believe the phone lines are working now. We're going to try to go to that call that I went to earlier over from the eastern side of the state. Rodriguez, I believe. This you? Are you on with NorbCam? I think this is you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Tell me your name. Remind me for the listeners your name.
Alonzo.
Okay, Alonzo. And you're calling somewhere in Washington, right? Eastern side of the state?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah, Wenatchee. All right. Beautiful town. Went down there, premiered my movie a few years ago in Wenatchee. Anyway, what you got on your mind? What's on your mind? What you got?
Well, I was going to say, you know how about drafting, all the drafting that happened. I really had a feeling that they would pick up Trey Adams, and that didn't happen. What do you think about that? Did you anything about that?
Well, we had a lot of names that we were hoping were going to happen that didn't happen. Gentlemen, I'll take to my panel over here. What do you guys think? Reaction to that to Adams not being picked up by Seattle?
Yeah, that's one of the guys that I had circled on my board for the later rounds, probably 5, 6. That's when it would have been a really good value pick. I really thought Seattle might go after a local guy like that. I was pretty sad that we didn't, but we got some good pieces in those later rounds. I like Freddie Sween. I like DJ Dallas. I like Parkinson. So I'm satisfied with our picks. I would have thought that we would have boosted a position more like offensive line rather than running back, though. So I'm with you, Alonzo.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I know that guy. He's a cool kid. We live right next door to him. I was pretty sad that it didn't happen.
Oh, next door neighbors,
wow. Huh? Yeah, I live up here with him. That was his dad. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Where you're like standing outside his door when he was waiting for his number to be called, just to catch the celebration inside his house.
Guy does that. Hopefully it was his number getting called by Seattle, but nope, he didn't get called.
Well, that would have been pretty cool. Anytime a local guy does.
Clowney, like, I don't know why he's asking so much. He's out of all his injuries. If he would at least go to 12, that would be perfect. But I don't think he'll go at least to 12. If we do, that'd be great with Marshawn. That'd be perfect.
Well, dreams do sometimes come true. So we'll find out if that happens. Well, thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Alonzo. And we'll talk to you later. You bet. Go Hawks.
Yeah, go Hawks.
All right, so I want to shout out real quick. Dukes of Hazzard blowing up the super chat again. Tell us how you really feel about Comcast, Norb. Yeah, I was on the phone yesterday with them the other day because I was doing my live stream, and it cut out like every 2 minutes. It was driving me nuts. And they told me, okay, we did this whole reset procedure and all these codes set down and reset the modem, and supposedly it was supposed to run like perfect from this point on. I'm like, this is far from perfect in my book. I already had a few hang-ups in this live stream, but Comcast is going to be hearing from me later today. Doggone it. Also, shout out to XRAT3D12, man, again. Best show on YouTube. Go Hawks. Thank you so much. I agree. This is the best show in the world. And these three guests are the reason why. All right, let's go to one more caller here, and then we'll move on to our continued topic. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis, a regular watcher of the show. Lewis, what's on your mind today? One more caller here. Turn down your volume, Lewis. Turn down your volume. I'm doing good, but it'd be great if you turn down your volume. Otherwise, I'll hear my echo in the background. Thank you. What's on your mind, Lewis?
One thing about the contingency plan is if there is a contingency plan, your first 4 games are going to be intra-conference games. Did you hear about that?
Oh, I see. You are talking about should we have a delay in the schedule, right? You're talking about the postponed schedule in case they don't start on time?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's not good for the Seahawks based on what we've been discussing because we all feel like we're going to have a loss to most of the teams in our division. So yeah, this does not suit well for the Seahawks if the games get reduced to playing mostly interdivisional and we lose some of those outside games, since right now everybody seems to be picking that we're going to do pretty well against all those outside divisions. So yeah, that would not be good for Seattle. But then it's not going to be good for really anybody in NFC West because this is probably the toughest division in football right now.
I agree.
Or the AFC West. The Chiefs have to play the AFC East also. So
yeah, it's a good point. I did see on the news that they have come out with a plan that in case for those people who have tickets, season tickets like myself, or who are planning to buy tickets or bought tickets, that they are going to be prepared to refund people their tickets should games get canceled due to coronavirus or other factors related to that. So that doesn't really make me feel any better because I'm prepared to pay the money to go see these games. It's actually very disappointing to think that I won't be able to go to all 10 games at home and potentially one on the road somewhere. So we'll see what happens there. But Lewis, anything else on your mind?
Yeah. What are you most worried about for the Seahawks schedule tomorrow? Just out of curiosity.
What am I most worried about? Let me take it to my panel here and see if you guys want to answer that. Are you guys particularly worried about the schedule and most nervous about? I guess when you roll that page up or whatever it is you look at to see when the schedule finally hits, what are you going to be going, oh, where's that? Oh, dang. What's most concerning to you guys? Martin, we'll still have you start.
Well, I feel like what would be most concerning is like playing with back-to-back road games maybe, and probably like if this season gets shortened, maybe no bye weeks. That'd be pretty bad.
It'd be terrible.
And maybe even playing back-to-back back-to-back rival division games. That would put the pressure on us, saying that like these two games are so crucial. Like if you play like, I don't know, Cardinals and 49ers right after that, it's going to be a little stressful, I guess. And so, I mean, usually I'm not really concerned about the schedule. I'm just like, oh, look at it. Oh, okay. There's who are playing. But if it were back-to-back road games, that would not feel well. But, I mean, you never know what's going to happen with the schedule this year.
I think it's the NFL loves to pack the division games at the end so that we, get that competitive race so nobody really knows who the division winner is going to be until the final game or two of the season. I'm sure it won't be any different where we'll be playing the Rams, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. Probably the 49ers would be the finale, I would think, if I was a scheduler. You got to put the 49ers Seahawks as the final game of the regular season. Again, I think we were the final game of the entire regular season of the NFL last year, were we not? As a late night game, and it was worth it. I mean, the audience got their money's worth in that game, where it came down to 3 inches in the near final play of the game. I'm sure that will be on the schedule again this time. But Calvin, what about you? Is there any particular thing you're looking for in the schedule? Bye week, timing of these games. What are you going to be looking for? We know the opponents, we know the locations, but we don't know the ifs and whens. What are you going to be looking for?
Yes, sir. So there's a few things. I'm just kind of curious as to when our bye week would be, if we do end up having a bye week. Because usually I notice that a lot of teams that have a lot of success in the playoffs usually have their bye weeks late in the season, because that's when it's most beneficial. And another thing I'm looking forward to is how many primetime games are we going to have? I love seeing this on Sunday Night Football. I love seeing this on Monday Night Football. Thursday Night Football is pretty cool, too. And usually, when you're a team that's on primetime a lot, it means that you're not only well respected, but you're one of the upper echelon teams in football, and so I'm kind of curious to see how many games we'll have in the spotlight. Noah,
how about you?
I completely agree with both of you guys about some of the things I'm looking forward to finding out. But one thing that I would look for that you guys aren't looking for, but it's also kind of like personalized because I think we're going to lose to this team. When do we play Buffalo? Are we going to play them in December when it's cold and we're in Buffalo and it's a foot of snow and nobody can even drive to the stadium? Is that when we're playing Buffalo? Because our biggest advantage over them is our quarterback. And if we're playing in a foot of snow, that advantage is nullified and it's not going to be the same. That's our biggest weather game that I see on our schedule, looking at all of our opponents. We're used to playing in the rain. We're not so used to playing in the snow, and anything can happen in that game. I'm going to look for when that game is, but the second on the priority list is just the bye. I agree with Calvin. I want to know, is it later on in the season? I like a Week 11, Week 12 bye. That'd probably be perfect for me.
I want the snow game. We don't get enough snow games, and more stadiums are going to indoor, games. And face it, the teams in our schedule, we might get a snow game in Seattle like once every 10 years or something. It's very rare to see them. Usually, I think the snow games that come to mind are usually against the Packers. and usually in Lambeau, and it usually doesn't end well for us. But in Buffalo, I don't know. That could be that would be fun. I remember the last big snow game they had. It was Buffalo against, I can't remember who they played. But remember, it snowed like 2 feet, and they were like, you could even see the ground, and they were like running through it, doing snow angels and stuff. I love that stuff. So I hope we get a snow game. It would actually be fun, because I think it sort of evens the odds. Yes, it takes away from our quarterback play, and then it becomes all about just, run game and being able to tackle and things like that. But I love snow games. I think it's just there's something magical about them. We don't get them anymore, not as much as the good old days. So I hope we get one. That would be so fun. All right, let's go to we'll do one more caller, and then we'll move on to our possibly final topic here. So let's go to is this Donna Miller? Is that who this is on the phone?
No, this is Jackson Miller, but...
Oh, Jackson, okay. I just saw the caller ID. I thought maybe we'd have a lady calling on the phone. That would be special. But we will settle for you, man. What's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, nothing much. I just wanted to tune in and talk about the whole Clowney situation. And my opinion is, he wanted $20 million a year, all that. And we had already made our quarterback, Russell Wilson, the highest paid player in the league. We made Bobby Wagner the highest paid middle linebacker in the league. And, we just wouldn't have enough room for Clowney to be that much money. So it just kind of worried me because he wanted so much.
Well, here's the thing, when you enter a negotiation, right? Let's say you go in to buy a car. If you're going to one of these negotiating car dealerships, there's a number in there where they're going to sell you the car, right? The dealership needs to hit this number, and you go in there and you want to pay this number. Somewhere they're asking for 50 or whatever. You want to pay 30, and somewhere in there lies that magic number where it's like 40, 41, and you're going to ask for 30, but you're ready to pay 40. They're going to ask for 50, and they're willing to give it for 41. So 40,500, maybe the magic number. And that's what I'm hoping that's what's going on here. Clowney's going to want to ask for $20 million. No one's going to pay him that. Seattle, I think we all know that there's some number out there that he's probably thrown out around 14. I think that's kind of the rumored amount that Seattle has tossed out to him. And he probably knows that he can't get much more than 15 or 16. I think he's just hoping that somebody out there would be desperate enough to go, he's still out there, and, we really need a guy like that. He could put us over the top, and maybe we're willing to pay that extra $2 million, a year more. But I think, Seattle's like his land, his safety blanket, and it's just, can he get that extra little higher? And I think Seattle's just comfortable enough to say, all right, if you think you can get it, we'll just be right here. But this is you heard our offer. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking, guys. I know we talked about this before, but you guys don't seem to have the same optimism that's quite how the game's going to get played. I see Calvin shaking his head over there.
I'd love that to happen. I do understand what you're saying, though, and so I'd love for that to be true, and I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah, Noah's even more negative about the whole situation than I am, or Calvin.
No, sometimes I go to sleep tonight thinking about your side of the story that you just said, Nor, because that really helps me have good dreams of Clowney back in Seattle. I want that to be right. Like what you said about the negotiation with cars, you're exactly right about that. And that's exactly what they were doing. So I completely agree with your point. I just don't think that we are the girl. Like, when a couple goes on a break, how often do they really come back? Because what happens during the break might ruin whatever they might have had. And so that's potentially what's going to happen with Jadaveon Clowney. I hope you're right, Norb. I just don't think that's how it ends up.
But sometimes distance makes the heart grow fonder, as the expression sometimes says. So he may miss Seattle when he realizes, man, I thought there was the grass is greener on the other side, but apparently the bluest skies you've ever seen and the greenest grass you've ever seen is in Seattle. So he may finally come to that realization. He just needs that time to come to that realization. And I'm throwing all kinds of proverbs and stuff out there. I'm a little crazy. Anyway, thanks for the call, man. Alyssa, was there something else you wanted to talk about, or was it just Clowney on your mind?
Just Clowney on my mind, yeah.
Just Clowney on your mind. Clowney on mine. On everybody's mind. Well, we'll see what happens. We will definitely update things as we find out. But I appreciate the call. Jackson, right?
Yep.
All right. Jackson, where are you calling from, by the way? Area code 319. I don't recognize that area code.
It's from Iowa. So
Iowa.
Long ways away.
Iowa. Seahawks fan in Iowa. I always wonder, how does that happen? How does that happen? Jackson, how does a Seahawks fan get...
Very many of them.
Yeah, how did that happen? Tell me.
I started watching them, my pretty much my entire family are Packer fans. So I grew up, when they'd play them, I watched them, and I just really liked, once I start to understand the game more, I really liked how they play, like especially their defense, like Cam Chancellor, my all-time favorite player on the Seahawks.
Yeah. Okay.
It was really fun to watch him, so.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. Well, stay strong amongst all those Packer fans. And, we'll take them down in Lambeau one of these days. One of these days.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. Thanks for the call, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Go Hawks.
Yep.
All right. Shout out to Anthony Bain in the super chat. Says Yannick wants $20 million, yet Seattle fans want him. True? True? Not true?
Whoa, we don't want him for that. We do not want him for that.
I take back everything I just said about Yannick. Never mind.
Well, he may want it. Everybody wants $20 million. I want $20 million. Am I going to get it? Probably not. But, Yannick may want it as well. Clowney wants $20 million. Everybody wants $20 million. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. They can always ask, but not going to necessarily receive it, right? So it's all about the bottom line.
I think with Yannick, I think the most important thing for him is a change of scenery. And so if he was to be traded to Seattle, he might want $20 million, but I think Seattle would be a team that he's willing to kind of bring that number down. And if that's not possible, and I think maybe playing on a 1-year franchise tag like what Clowney did for us last season would also be another possibility if he was to be traded to Seattle.
Noah, you got a thought on that?
Man, I just think Yannick Ngakoue, that's not much, we would have to trade in order to get him, meaning we're giving up capital, which also means we're not going to spend as much on you, dude. Come on, we're already spending a lot here. That's not how this works. We refused to pay the guy that we had here last year that we traded for. Completely different deal. We ripped them off. If we could rip your guys off too, I mean, it's Jacksonville. They traded a fifth for Calais Campbell. Maybe we could trade him like Freddie Swain straight up for Yannick Ngakoue. I'd do that, but outside of that, it's one of those situations where not only would the trade have to be right, and both.
Oh, good old Comcast.